In just 1 minute, he completely annihilated an Olympic-level defensive master. Before his opponent even knew what hit him, he collapsed onto the canvas like a broken folding chair, and the crowd absolutely erupted. In a matchup that was supposed to be competitive, the 5'7" DeAngeloEvans used the most unjustifiable, brutal violence to announce to the world a monster has arrived. He was undefeated. He was untouchable. But what he didn't know was that just 24 hours later, the exact same world that was cheering for him would swallow him whole and spit out the bones. The cheers died down. The California State Athletic Commission dropped a lethal suspension overnight. This future champion was kicked straight out of the ring and branded a criminal. Why did he fall so hard? You have to look at the massive lie the internet fabricated for him, a terrifying persona he never asked for, but was violently forced onto him. If you've ever seen the look in his eyes as he walks to the ring, you believe the lie too. You can't stay rational, because there is zero calculated strategy of a modern fighter in him. He swings like a starving, bloodthirsty beast. Rewind to 2022. His opponent that night was Adam Tomlinson. This was supposed to be a standard pro bout. Instead, it turned into a public execution. The bell rang, and Evans pressed forward like a brick wall. He didn't even bother throwing a feeling-out jab. Every single punch was thrown with the intent to destroy. Tomlinson tried to counter, but Evans just slipped his head slightly, dodged everything, and buried a flat hook deep into his ribs. The sound was like a baseball bat smashing into wet leather. With pure terror in his eyes, Tomlinson just wanted to escape the corner and survive, but Evans cut off the cage, shifted laterally, and dropped him with one shot. If the ref hadn't thrown his life on the line to stop it, there might have been a murder in the ring. Anyone who watched that fight felt a chill down their spine. Professionally trained fighters looked like wet paper against him. Next up was Giovanni Babyface Gutierrez. He walked in with a meticulously crafted game plan from his team. He lasted exactly 1 round before that game plan turned into trash. Under Evans' suffocating pressure, Gutierrez ate a heavy shot and literally dropped his hands. His spirit broke before his body even hit the canvas. Challengers lined up to step through the ropes and lined up to wake up with the medics, staring blankly at the arena ceiling. No one could stop this bulldozer. He was inevitable. His fighting style was the reincarnation of a prime Mike Tyson. And that was exactly when the internet decided to steal his identity. We live in an era obsessed with trauma. Brutal knockouts aren't enough anymore. The public demands a tragic anti-hero. They want blood in the ring and blood in the backstory. Since he looked like Tyson and fought like Tyson, the internet decided he had to have Tyson's tragic life. The algorithm kicked into gear. Bloggers and content creators got together and fabricated a Hollywood-level dark script. They claimed Evans was thrown into Durham's brutal foster care system at age 5. They said he bounced from home to home. They said he had to street fight just to survive cold winter nights. Then, to perfectly mirror Tyson's life, they dropped the ultimate tragedy. A rumor spread online that his mother died in a car crash when he was 16. The digital world painted him as a lonely, furious orphan, taking out his misunderstood pain on anyone brave enough to fight him. The script was flawless. It was intoxicating. It was exactly the story the fans wanted to hear. But there was one problem. Not a single word of it was true. The most terrifying man in the ring was no street orphan. His darkest secret? He had an incredibly normal life. He grew up in a stable, loving home. His mom was never in a car crash. She was alive and well, actively attending his fights to support him. While millions of people online were crying over her fake death, she was sitting in the front row watching her son beat people senseless. He never fought for his life in the slums. He went to a regular high school and went to college. He was even a pretty successful collegiate wrestler. The legendary thug fighting to escape gang life? He was actually a delivery guy wearing a FedEx uniform, a completely normal adult job. He got into boxing not to escape the mob, but purely because he was bored during college break. He just wanted to stay in shape and keep busy so he wouldn't do anything stupid. That was the reality. But reality doesn't get clicks. So, the internet completely erased the FedEx delivery wrestler and replaced him with a fictional monster pulled straight from their sick imaginations. It's a dangerous game. Because when you build a monster in the public eye, everyone eventually wants to watch it get destroyed. The trap was set. The turning point came in May 2026. Critics started doubting. Could this savage actually beat elite competition? Cesar Vera Braga was the test. A former Colombian Olympian and a defensive master. He was brought in specifically to teach this overhyped rookie a lesson. It was supposed to be a war. The bell rang. Evans had ice in his veins. His combinations landed clean, backing the Olympic veteran into a corner. Then came the second round. A flat left hook. No setup, no jab. Pure, explosive violence. Vera Braga never even saw it coming. He dropped like he was shot. In just 1 minute, he dismantled an Olympic veteran. It was the absolute knockout of the year. This should have been his crowning moment. But this level of power triggered a primal fear. In casual fans, a guy with no amateur background destroying a tactical master with one punch, people absolutely refused to believe it was just pure talent. Hours after the fight, a slow-motion clip surfaced online. The caption read, "He's packing melatonin in his gloves." It was just an inside joke, meaning his punches put people right to sleep. But the internet is a runaway train. The public had already bought into the street thug narrative, and they were primed to believe he was a fraud. Within hours, the metaphor was taken literally. Fans started panic retweeting. They said he loaded his gloves. They said his hand wraps were rigged. They said he was on steroids. The rumors spread like wildfire into a massive online conspiracy. Boxing forums exploded. Experts looked into cameras and questioned, how could a 5'7" guy generate this kind of power? The entire internet demanded an answer. And the worst possible thing happened at the worst possible time. The California State Athletic Commission issued an official statement. DeAngeloEvans was officially suspended. The ruling was ironclad, suspended until the 25th of November 2026. The timing was a complete disaster. To the internet, a state-sanctioned document was undeniable proof. It was a stamp of guilt. The entire combat sports world instantly turned its back on him, calling him a cheating thief. Years of momentum were paralyzed in an instant. His name became radioactive. Overnight, the champion received his own public execution. Forced into exile, all he could do was watch his empire crumble. But the most tragic part of this scandal, the whole world was burning an innocent man at the stake. This entire 2026 witch hunt was fabricated from top to bottom. The truth was buried under millions of angry posts. The gloves were clean. The wraps were legal. No PEDs. The melatonin was just a bad meme, pure garbage created by a fan base terrified of his power. As for that highly publicized state suspension, it wasn't a punishment at all. It was the most standard medical protocol in professional boxing. After a high-intensity bout, the Commission forces fighters to take a mandatory rest period to protect their brains. Every fighter goes through this exact process after a major war. The state never penalized him for cheating. Sidelining him was purely a safety regulation. He won clean, passed every single test. He was being punished simply because he was too dangerous. The internet forced a crime onto him just to find an excuse for a terrifying power they couldn't explain. But the truth didn't matter anymore. The damage was already done. Now, he's left sitting in the dark, serving a sentence for a crime he never committed. Watching the mob drag his name through the mud with a fabricated script, he's forced to sit in silence for months. Can't fight, can't defend himself. Locked in a digital prison, agonizingly waiting for November 25th. That level of isolation is devastating. He never begged to be the next Mike Tyson. He never asked for a fake, tragic backstory. All he wanted to do was step into the ring, put his opponent to sleep, and go home. But society doesn't allow athletes to just be athletes anymore. We claim we want Supermen. We beg them for those unforgettable, brutal highlight reels. But the second they actually show us something superhuman, we're terrified. We instantly start looking for reasons to tear them down. Pure talent is just the ticket for admission into this game. Surviving the toxic, malicious gaze of the public that is the true cost of greatness. Evans has already proven that no one can physically stop him. But the true test of a champion isn't about how hard you can punch a man. It's about what you do when the entire world is trying to destroy your spirit. The fans stole his identity. The internet stole his reputation. The Commission locked his ring. Everything he fought so hard to build was hijacked by a narrative he never even controlled. When the suspension lifts and he steps back into that ring, who exactly is going to return? A beast driven insane by rumors? Or a smiling reaper ready to put the entire division to sleep?